Welcome to another beautiful day on Oweleketv. My name is Ramsey Enoch and this is Outnumbered, reaching you live and direct from the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, Nigeria. Well, this is the time a lot of people have been waiting for, where we'll take you through the headlines for today. Joining me today is Bright and Michael. Bright and Michael are right here, despite the fuel scarcity. You know, in Abuja, the Federal Capital Territory, before you even hear Jack Robinson, if you hear anything about fuel, there is already artificial scarcity. But then you guys are here this morning. I'm so excited to see you guys. Well, hope it wasn't too stressful.
No, it wasn't. Thank God for the movement. We left very early.
Very early.
Some few stations are actually closed. Yeah.
That's FCT for you. You stay very far.
Yeah. As I yesterday, we already started noticing queues in some places, and some stopped using their complete nozzles and started limiting their nozzles to like
you remember what he's talking about?
Instead of about 6 nozzles, started using about 2 nozzles and all. So
what would they be telling people? There's no fuel in those other nozzles.
Most of them complained that their trucks were ahead on the road, the deployable road state, because of the flooding in some states.
Oh, yeah, Lagos. Did you see that flood?
I saw the flood, but I don't think that's what's causing this fuel. I believe they are holding this fuel because
of that news yesterday. That speculation, that speculation that
price of fuel.
Price of fuel is going to skyrocket, and then there is going to be a state of emergency declared because of the unavailability of crude. Well, no matter what it is, we are here this morning. Let's take you to the headlines for today, beginning from the Vanguard newspaper. And from the Vanguard this morning, discuss hike band A tariff by 1.3% to 209.5 naira per kilowatt. Well, I don't know who is actually using the band A. First of all, almost everyone denied using Band A because they said Band A have almost uninterrupted power supply in Nigeria. And I was wondering, how could that be? More still coming from the Vanguard newspaper this morning. Uniben students are blocked Benin Lagos Road over power outage. Details read on page 6. Lamentations quas as flood grounds Lagos. Details read on page 29, and terrorists kidnap Kaduna judge, kill son, demand 300 million naira ransom. This was what happened. The judge was actually kidnapped. That's not enough. As if that's not enough, they killed his son. All right. Then they are demanding for ransom.
That's really very sad.
How did we get
sad.
here?
That's very sad. So terrible. They killed his son and they're still demanding for 300 million naira. That's sad. Quite sad.
Well, that's quite sad. That's quite unfortunate. We pray that he be released very soon. Finally, from the Vanguard newspaper this morning, the big story. The kicker says a health crisis. Then the story itself says high cost of drugs to persist as local production flops. Then I have some riders to that story. The riders are so much, I won't be able to take everything. Only 25% of drug consumed in Nigeria produced locally. Another one says that 70% drug importation puts more pressure on forex. Then this writer says importation responsible for high cost of drugs. Pharmaceutical sector unique, deserve special policy coming from PMG. Then this one says PNG and MAN, of course. And then the last one says delete import duty levy to ensure our survival. Deosun is the one saying that. Then finally from ACFN, this writer says the federal government should introduce reform utilized in petroleum sector. Federal government should introduce reforms utilized in petroleum sector. That's going to be the size of the headlines this morning from the Vanguard newspaper. Let's move to the next paper. Over to you, Michael.
Thank you, Ramsey. Straight to the punch today. Above the head, the National Assembly scores federal government low on budget implementation. Details on page 22. Customs intercept 1.6 billion military wares rifles from Turkey. That's you can get that details on page 10. Now the big story: 10-hour rainfall, business grounded, house collapses as flood overtakes Lagos. Now remember I told you I visited a fuel station this morning, and the manager told me their truck is headed somewhere because of the flood. that happened yesterday. That's why they don't have fuel. They're only selling.
That could be an excuse. Maybe because of the hike. Probably.
I think that's just an excuse because
that's what they will tell you. They won't tell you.
The flood happened yesterday, and he's saying that he doesn't have fuel because flood happened yesterday.
Just yesterday.
How will his truck get from Lagos down here?
The flood is even. I think it's even within the town.
You understand? It's not everywhere.
It's just an excuse. Probably. We don't know. It might be true. We don't know. He has said it might be true, but then let's go on.
All right, big story details on page 2. One writer to that story: 7 rescued from collapsed building, flood induced traffic, disrupts movement in Lagos and Ogun State. The last story I'll take on the Punch today: father-son remanded for allegedly stealing 75 million naira from Lagos firm. This is on page 5. That's on a sad note. I pray that stealing 75 million, is something else. Lagos firm, hunger in the land is making people do some things. All right, away from the Punch, do well to pick a copy of the Punch newspaper today. Over to you, Bright. All
right, thank you, Michael. On the New Telegraph today, I think we have Nigeria needs to collective efforts to surmount challenges. Nigeria needs collective efforts. Like, we don't need division in this our trying times. Actually,
united we stand.
Tinubu, we need collective effort. This is not a time to call for we are from this party. No, we need a collective effort this time around. FG launches initiative to transform Nigeria into 1 trillion economy by 2030. Federal government launches, and I think that is a very wonderful one. The federal government launching this initiative to launch Nigeria into a $1 trillion economy by 2030. That's a very big goal by the presidency. The big story here is Akpabio blames Goza suicide attacks on security intelligence failure. Actually, I think that is a normal thing to do right now at the moment, because we're supposed to have security intelligence in the country, but these things happened and it eluded them. I think these are the right people to be held responsible, because they are our security intelligence. They're supposed to be ahead of those terrorists in terms of thinking. So for them to not be able to see that thing happen means there was a lot of lapses on their side. So you have some writers to that story. Have some preventive security. Then senators stress use of modern facilities. Like, you cannot be operating like the 19th century, when the terrorists we are going after are already using modern day technologies, and we are using analog technologies to go after people that are using digital technologies. It cannot work. You understand, Mr. Ramsey?
Yeah,
so you see that we need to step up our game to be able to match.
And that's you remember what you said.
They have also
Nigerian police is using tum.
You understand?
These people are using ta 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 ta.
We need to step up
He
our
said
game.
it the other day.
We need to step up our game when it comes to combating terrorism. So over to you, Mr. Ramsey.
All right, thank you very much, Bright. I'm rounding up right now, and this is going to be the last paper. Daily Independent is the paper. I'm beginning from the big story. The big story says federal government unveils model to realize planned $1 trillion economy by 2030. And of course, that will be a very good one. There is this story that caught my attention on page 29, where it says Benue governor imposes 24-hour curfew on Ukum local government. Bandit, the writer to that story says, bandit killed 7 in Ukum, 4 in Gwe West local government area. Then this other story says, Senate probes importation of poisonous diesel, says heads will roll. Let the heads roll. Someone was telling me a few days ago, he said, what happened to Betta Edo? We're not hearing anything about her anymore. Is it that the elite of the elite have swallowed this case and we don't get to hear anything anymore? Or the case has died in natural death? Well, if the Senate is saying heads will roll, we really want to see the heads roll so that it could serve as death run to other persons who are messing up with the economy of the nation. Of course, finally, Southeast senators meet AGF, ask Tinubu to free Nnamdi Kanu. Well, as of this morning, yesterday we heard that the Southeast governors met with former President Olusegun Obasanjo, and this morning Olusegun Obasanjo came up in some of the papers to say my meeting with the Southeast governors has nothing to do with Nnamdi Kanu. We didn't discuss anything about Nnamdi Kanu, and I saw that as some form of an integrity protection. It needs to protect his image, of course. And of course, if the governors are saying we met with the former President Olusegun Obasanjo and we talked about Nnamdi Kanu in a bid to release him, then I don't know, that is falsehood. And if he has denied that, that should be it. And that's going to be the size of in fact, what I just took is on page 6 of the Daily Independent newspaper. You can go through that and see what Obasanjo is saying. He said Obasanjo denies discussing Nnamdi Kanu's release with Southeast governors. Well, thank you very much. Let's see how all of that will go. Pick a copy of any of these papers and then go through it for any of these headlines that interest you. We are going on a quick break. When we return, it will be time for the big story.
Follow us on our social media handles at Oweleketv. Visit our website at www.oweleketv for a thrilling journey. Oweleketv, rising star at the fairground.
Welcome back from that break. It is still Outnumbered live on your screen, and now we want to bring to you the big story. Like we said, so many things happening in Nigeria right now. Hunger everywhere. We heard that people even go as far as stealing a pot of soup. We had it. We even talked about it on this program. But now, one thing is for you to be alive before you can even talk about anything. If you're not alive, then nothing else is important anymore, because good health and good wealth is what is very important right now, because you need to be healthy to be wealthy. Now, healthcare crisis everywhere. Why the healthcare crisis? Because the high cost of drugs still persists as local production flops. Man, if you look at the drugs that is being used in this country, majority of them are imported. And now looking at the high rise, the depreciation of dollar and the depreciation of naira and appreciation of dollar has so many things to do with it. From the riders to that story, you can hear that only 25% of drugs consumed in Nigeria is being produced locally. Well, sometimes you look at these locally produced drugs. Well, the traditional and orthodox medicine, if you look at it, sometimes you can say, well, how can you even certify that this is good enough for what is wrong with you? Did you carry out any test to know that it's typhoid or malaria fever or whatever before you even go taking these orthodox medicines? How do you do the prescription? Sometimes they just measure in cup according to your age, or maybe according to strength, or according to the quantity you can consume. How dangerous could that be to the body? All this put together, then you talk about the high cost of drugs, and this will make people revert back to the use of orthodox drug, which is somehow harmful if not properly managed. Let's talk about this, brothers. I say brothers, I'm not in church. All right.
So actually, when this news is not actually a surprise. We actually saw this coming when GSK left the country last year. You know, they are the pharmaceutical giants when it comes to to drugs in the world. They're one of the pharmaceutical giants in the world.
The whole world.
Yes, they are a force to reckon with in the pharmaceutical industry.
That's true.
You know, they have been in Nigeria since doing their production, but they left, I think, last year or so. And we knew that was going to have an impact on the pharmaceutical sector. So this news coming now, I'm not surprised by it. But I think what the government can do now is to encourage those importation of drugs by removing some taxes and levies from drugs and other related medical equipment and stuff. You understand, to reduce the stress and the price, because if they keep putting those high levies on them, I think that's where we'll start having those price issues. You understand? So I think the government should ease down the taxes on those pharmaceuticals and anything related to medicine for now, to allow the common man to breathe. when it comes to getting drugs and all that.
Let the common man breathe. We talked about this sometimes back on this program when we're talking about hospitals even shutting down. You go to the hospital, they get you tested, they check you, whatever that is being diagnosed. Sometimes they give you a written note and ask you to go get the drugs. If the drugs are not available in hospitals, then where else can someone find it? And the cost of it, this is somebody doing business with it. It's not like a hospital anymore. Like the federal medical centers, if you go there, general hospitals, you will feel, well, drugs will be cheaper. But now it is not even available anymore, and local production is a flop. Like they said here in this paper. What would you have to say about this? How do we come out of this? What do you think the federal government is supposed to do?
Well, research shows right now in Nigeria that over the years, local manufacturing companies, local drug manufacturing companies have closed shops, and that led to the cascading impact on stability of Nigeria having over reliance on imported drugs. That is why we have, averagely, you go to every medical store and the basic drug you want to get is expensive. Affordability and durability is one thing, because imported drugs, averagely, you feel okay, they have more quality.
And sometimes if you even want to buy, they'll tell you this is foreign, this is local, and they will make you feel the foreign is more expensive.
The foreign is more expensive. So that has been happening. So when the PMG chairman Oluwatosi spoke about not having favorable policies backing the pharmaceutical sector, describing it as a special and unique sector that should have a special place in the heart of government policies, because a nation that is not healthy is a nation that cannot thrive or survive or make progress. You need healthy leaders and healthy people to even talk about them going to work,
That's true. And that's how they can contribute to the growth of the economy.
Absolutely. What's the problem they've been facing? High taxation, import duties, registration. Also, remember that the local manufacturers in Nigeria cannot meet the increasing population. They can't supply drugs to just 25%. So that's been over dependence on importation, and that is so much money that we've spent over the years. About 750 trillion has been spent just on importation of drugs, just to meet the dimming population of Nigeria. So I feel the federal government should make reforms, policies that helps this pharmaceutical sector. It's a very delicate sector that should not be overlooked.
All right. Very delicate sector that should not be overlooked. Well, as it is right now, I don't know. But then, you said something yesterday when we were talking about locally produced product. You talked about the cable, the Nigerian cable. People patronize it more because of the quality. The integrity of the material. I think we can also talk about the integrity of these drugs that are being produced in Nigeria. Because some persons, I know what Nigerians can do in a bit to make money. Someone can just go and put one or two together and tell you it's drugs, and at the end of the day, life's been lost. But then I think NAFDAC have so much job to do to monitor these people. But then on the whole, like Michael and Bright have said, we need to encourage local production of drugs because we have what it takes. We can't keep depending on foreign drugs, all right? And we should make the environment conducive for pharmaceutical companies to trend. Thank you very much for being there. We know you have actually gotten something very important. Your health is your wealth. Do everything possible to stay healthy. Live a healthy life. Avoid what you need to avoid when you are above 30, 40, what you're supposed to do and all of that. Well, I think you'll get more of those details when we bring you some of our health tips some other time. Join us again, same time, same station tomorrow for Outnumbered. My name is Ramsey Enoch. Bye-bye for now and have a wonderful day.